A lot of folks who are getting ready to retire find that they really go from the highest tax bracket of their lives to possibly even the lowest tax bracket of their lives, just from one year to the next. So a donor advised fund is an account that you can set up and you can transfer appreciated stock into it, or you can write a check to fund it. But you get a tax deduction in the year that you make the gift, but then you could spread that gift out over a number of years later. And so when might this make sense? So let's say you're in a 33% tax bracket in the year before you retire. You might consider shifting a lot of your money into a donor advised fund and then claiming the tax deduction in the year when you're in the highest tax bracket. That money can then be invested, and then you can distribute that money out over many years to any nonprofit that you choose. So really, what do you need to know about donor advised funds? One thing to know is that you get an immediate tax deduction in the year that you make the gift. Another thing to know is that money can then be invested, and that money can grow. Even though the money is set aside to nonprofits, you don't have to actually select which nonprofits you're going to give to at the time you make the gift. That is something you can always decide later, but it is important to know that once you make the gift, then that money does have to go to a 501c3. You have a lot of flexibility, and you really have a lot of control. You have control over how those funds are invested. You also have control over how those funds are eventually distributed to the nonprofits that you care about. Because really the nonprofits that you want to support now may be very different than the nonprofits you want to support 5 or 10 years from now. So you do have a lot of control over where that money ultimately gets to. Donor advised fund is something that can seem fairly complicated when you first dig into it, but it's actually pretty straightforward. You just make a gift in the year where you're in a high tax bracket, and then you send the money out to the nonprofits in future years when you're in a lower tax bracket. So for the right investor, you can save significant money on your taxes by setting up a donor advised fund.